I mean, that's the great irony. When somebody complains about that, it's like, are you
That's
fucking
the same with every
insane?
Kramer, every book, you know. It's like we price it really as low as
I mean, Gary's worked for 40 years. Give the guy a fucking break.
Yeah, but I think it comes from a comic book. If we went to like a book, if we went to an art book message board forum,
I know.
they wouldn't be talking
They'd be
about
like, that Gary Panner book is so cheap.
Right.
That publisher's an idiot.
Right, I think.
Yeah.
But I think
GAP can't believe how cheap the Gary book is. They're like, wow, what a deal, great. And then you go to a comic store and they're like, oh,
no, I think because it's a different world, you know, and like that's one niche.
Yeah, it's a different.
That's one niche for these books.
It seems like there's a lot of animosity.
That's okay. I don't read. I try not to read those message board things, you know, because it's like it's disheartening because I like to think that I'm part of that world. Like I'm a comics fan, you know. Like I'm not against them. I'm not like trying to.
But people are
it's
interesting.
my world, you know.
People,
but I don't know.
There's this thing of wanting to be involved, but then you'll notice they'll always come to both of our tables and buy tons of stuff. So they're willing to give us tons of their money and then go on the board and be like, those guys are the worst. Just don't, just chill out, buddy.
I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like people honestly feel what?
Oh, I was
it's not an emergency comment.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that people obviously feel like it's their world, and that the outside world is like encroaching on.
Well, that's, I mean,
you know, that they're making the outside world is buying Adrian's comics, but I've been reading Adrian's comics since you know it was published since issue 8 last year. You know what I mean? Like there's yeah, it's just it's this weird
world.
They have like a weird antagonism, and there's a lot of anytime. Okay, it's like you know when you hear someone use the word hipster, you know that that's like. There's no such thing as a hipster. All that means is that they feel that there's someone at a bar or someone at a music show who seems to know more and is more comfortable than they are. It's this made up thing, right? So right when someone uses that term hipster, you know like, oh, they've got issues where they're projecting.
You just turn off at that point.
And people project onto what I do a lot, like with Kramer's. They really have this weird perception. And you know, I was like deeply into like Hasidic Judaism when I was doing issue 4 and 5. Like I wasn't, you know, some noise kid like having wild parties like saying "fuck you, Dad."
I know. I always.
You know what I mean? Like I was such a nerd. Like I'm still such a nerd, but it's just the antagonism from people. They're projecting this weird thing, and I guess a lot of those people who are vocal online are all people who want to be cartoonists, and they maybe feel like they should be in there, or like they feel like the kind of cartooning they're doing isn't fashionable now, or you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it has nothing to do with me. That's the point. I feel like it has to do all with them. That's true. It has nothing to do with me. And the Kramer 7 thing, you know, I don't know. I think if you're not into it, then don't buy
Dustin,
it.
please. Good God.
I don't want this to sound snide,
It's related.
but I mean, because it might, and I just want to be clear up front that I would pay $300 for Kramer 7.
Oh, Sammy.
I mean,
Volume
$300.
7.5.
So I'm excited about the book, regardless of the expense. Just like you say, as an art object, something to struggle to figure out where to put in my home, next to my gasoline alley. You know, these giant books. But I will point out, as a retailer, that there seems to be a disconnect between you guys' attitude. Like a minute ago, it was, damn, you know, I just wish we could get into comic book stores. And then a minute later, it's these comic book stores are so snide about this $150, $125 book, which to the comic book store guy, even to me as a retailer, I'll order the book. And we might take a bath on it. I mean, I'll order it to resell. But, for instance, I made an order with Alvin a few months ago and ordered a bunch of Kramer 6 just to have it. You know, I was like, this book is going to sell out, but I want to have it for the next 5 years. And I've sold almost none. But I'm not upset about it, but that money is locked in place. I mean, you guys all as businessmen know, and so that limits how much. So it's easy for me to not sell a lot of...
I totally, well, that's what I was saying before, that the run on this book is limited, because I know, like, when I order Gasoline Alley and the Nemo book for our store, I order in, like, even though the Nemo and Gasoline Alley books are sold really well, considering how much they are, I'll only order, like, 3 at a time, you know?
Because
Yeah, because
one day
so
it'll stop.
the
All
run
of a
for
sudden,
Kramer's
oh, yeah.
7 is going to be a lot smaller than the usual run. It's only going to be done once. And what I think you might have missed this because I think you had to run out, but I was saying that
The earthquake.
I was saying that because I want to help, you know, retailers with this one, because I know a lot of people are going to go to Amazon to get the discount because they do it at a loss.
As a guy with a great big employee discount.
No, but you know, I plan on doing like a tour to go to those shops that support the book and hopefully help sales at the full price because you know I wanna you know help out those retailers.
What's interesting though is at the front end.
But this is a one-time thing. Like a book like this, I don't expect it to be
The next
the
one
norm
will be
for
$1,000.
comics. No, well, you know what? The funny thing is that like when starting this book, I didn't know how the work was gonna, because it was such a particular size, and I didn't know how the artists were gonna take to it. I thought, well, you know, I've put the word out to over 70 cartoonists. If it's all bad, because I did reject some work, so I was starting to think like we might only have 20 strips. So then it'll be like $1 because it'll be like a flimsy little thing. It would have been really small. But this thing turned into be something very unique and interesting, and it's a one-off. Like I don't think all books should be like this. Clearly, you know.
Well, and you guys do publish like a variety of sizes and formats, and there are cheap books in your catalog.
Right. Alvin does, you know, has a
just did
whole range of
Injury.
stuff from $2 to $125.
I mean, Injury could have been it's a classic alternative comic book. Could have come out in 1987, 1993.
That's exactly why we did that, is because it's just no one's doing